Dan Larson here at the photo booth with the top 10 action figures of 2022. My top 10 action figures of 2022. Let's just jump right into it. It was a big, crazy year with lots of action figures, an overwhelming amount of plastic and stuff to buy from all kinds of different lines. I would say I don't know where to start, but I do know where to start. We're going to start right here with, you know what? Here's the thing. This is part 4. We do this 4 times a year. We build it. We build up to it with 3 previous videos, one at the end of each quarter. And in those videos, I usually do the thing where I put all the action figures I bought during the year up to that point, and then I, pull one out each at a time and sort of get to this process of elimination. And it's fun and it's torturous for me, and it seems to play well with people watching the videos. But that's not how I do my final top 10. My final top 10 is too important to me. It is a deliberate, purposeful process where I go through and pick the specific action figures that I think represent that year for me. I do have some rules. So go back and watch those videos if you want to see what got eliminated, what else I bought this year. Follow me on Instagram at Toy Galaxy to see other pictures and stuff, all those things. But I'm going to go over the rules real quick. My rules are, as they have been forever. Number 1, the figure has to be released and purchased in that calendar year. There's obviously some squishy gray areas at the end and beginning of each year, because it's hard to know like when figures were really supposed to be released versus when they slipped out or got delayed or whatever. There are 2 very problematic figures that may come up again later here. I don't want to spoil anything. Number 2, if I didn't buy it, it is automatically disqualified. Obviously, this isn't the top 10 action figures of everything that was released on the planet. It's my top 10 action figures. Number 3, samples count. Sometimes I do get samples from action figure companies, Hasbro, whatever. Those count if I was going to buy them anyway. I don't ever want to throw something in just because I got a sample from somebody. If it was something that I was going to buy anyway, then I think that's valid to include it. And then lastly, I don't usually include customs because I like a figure's entry into the list to be representative of how that figure was released by the company. And that's why, I don't do a lot of modification to my action figures. There's things I would like to do and things I intend to do, but they just never seem to happen. So, most of my customization is like maybe a wired cape here and there, switching heads on figures or whatever. Storm Shadow here in the booth. This figure was released this year and ideally would have made my top 10. However, I did do some customization work on it, and I think it was to a degree that disqualifies it from inclusion on this list. I swapped out the hands, the gloved hands, for some hands from Marvel Legends that I had my friend Rich paint to, as best as possible, match the skin tones on the suit. I cut all the stars off of his bandolier here. There was some shuriken that were on his bandolier, and I cut those off because I just didn't like the way they looked. And these katanas, these swords, are from Marauder Task Force, so they're not the ones that were actually issued with the figure. They don't fit in the backpack. I don't care because this is how I display it. And any pictures I'm posting of Storm Shadow, he's most likely going to have those swords out. He's not going to have them in his backpack, so it doesn't matter to me. That said, I really did want to include this, and I was going to bend that rule just to get Storm Shadow in there. But it's okay. Don't worry about Storm Shadow because the retro version of Storm Shadow is due out next year, 2023. This year, 2023. So I am pretty confident that new version, which I really don't like these arm bracers, that new version, which won't have the arm bracers and will have bare hands and will be a little bit more retro styled to my preference. I'm pretty sure that figure is going to make the top 10 of 2023. So don't feel bad for Storm Shadow. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY for $5 off your order today. You know what's boring? The DMV. Doing your taxes, business meetings, reading very long books about math, cleaning the basement, this list. What's not boring is Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving. 140 calories, it's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. Magic Spoon is great for a low-carb lifestyle for those who are crab-conscious. I'm sorry, that should be great for a low-carb lifestyle for those who are carb-conscious. Actually, it's good for both. Magic Spoon has 0 crabs. Start your new year off right with Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. And don't forget, Magic Spoon ships to Canada and the UK.
Click the link below and use my code TOYGALAXY for $5 off your very own variety box, and choose from Magic Spoon's best-selling flavors like cocoa, cookies and cream, and maple waffle. That's magicspoon.com/TOYGALAXY to save $5 off your order today, and thanks again to Magic Spoon.
At number 10, we have Mattel's 40th anniversary Masters of the Universe He-Man. Kind of a weird figure. I don't know how far down this line they're going to go. I don't know what other kind of support it's going to get. It definitely fits into that Revelations, Masterverse kind of thing where you're getting multiple different variations from different timelines, different artists' interpretations of the characters. I'm not really into Masterverse all that much, kind of a here and there sort of thing. Same with Origin, same with any of them. For me, this He-Man is an ideal update to that classic figure. I do have Classics He-Man, and I do like that figure. This is more posable than that. I hear the concerns about the weirdness of the torso. There are absolutely some articulation issues that I absolutely agree with. But for me, dollar for dollar, and these things got real cheap. I think I bought mine with a Target coupon, maybe like a $10 off coupon or something, or maybe a gift card, so I didn't pay full price when I bought it. But these things were on clearance. I was at Target like last week and they were on clearance for like 10 bucks. And while you might not be able to justify what, I don't even remember what the original price was. I can't remember if it was 25 or 30 or whatever. You may not be able to justify the original price. This is worth well more than 10 bucks, that is for sure. But look, the other rule that I kind of put in place this year, and it's not even really a rule, it's more of a criteria that I used to narrow down, to try to give myself a way to put all these things in order and to make selections. The main criteria for me this year was how much did I just play with this stuff? How much, which of all these figures that I bought, regardless of how cool they are, which ones did I put my hands on the most and just have fun messing around with? Posing them on my desk, taking pictures of them, and posting them on Instagram, or not posting them on Instagram, whatever I was doing. Those are the figures that I really wanted to focus on and say, you know what, those are the ones that I really enjoyed the most this year. And I can't deny, and even I have some complaints about this figure. Even I have some issues. His neck seems a little short. I wish there was some more paint on the weapons. I opted to give him the Filmation Classics, or just the regular Classics power sword, over the version that it came with. Like I said, I don't even know if there's going to be any other figures to go along with this. I didn't get the 2-pack with Skeletor, hoping he gets a retail release at some point. But I just had fun with this figure this year, and so that's why he's going to take the 10 spot. At number 9, kind of a weird pick, but not really. If you've been paying attention the last couple of years, look, I've been talking for a while about how much I would like to see Hasbro, Mattel, anybody go all in on a line of 6-inch animal, 6-inch scale, 1/12 scale animal action figures. I have a ton of He-Mans and Spawns and Snake Eyes and Spider-Man and Wolverine. I only have one 6-inch scale crocodile. And well, 3 now if you count Fiona here from G.I. Joe Classified, if you count Fiona's little baby crocs. Now I got 3, and that is just so cool. Last year in the best of top 10 of 2021, the Build-A-Figure bear from Marvel Legends, Ursa Major, or whatever, made it, and the Panther from Dungeons and Dragons made it. And yeah, I'm looking for more animals. And Freedom came out this year for Classified, so I'm very excited, especially for G.I. Joe to be gaining ground the way it is, if we're going to see more and more animals, because I want more animals represented in my action figures. Fiona here is amazing. Wired tail, a little bit of a bend. We got shoulders and wrists and the head articulation, neck articulation, 2 baby crocodiles. It even came with other accessories like a full Crocmaster figure, which is cool in and of itself. But this spot absolutely goes to that crocodile and my desire to encourage more 6-inch scale animals. Serpentor came with a snake. Snake Eyes last year came with Timber. Like, let's go. Hey, look, Hasbro, if you need someone to come in and brand manage the Hasbro Animal Menagerie line of action figures, I'm your guy. Come get me. I'm super excited about it. We'll make this happen. We'll have full waves of zoo animals, pets, whatever. We'll go jungle, we'll go forest, we'll go mountain range, we'll go underwater. Let's get this line going. It has cross-demographic appeal. We'll get them in museums, we'll get them in theme parks, we'll get them in schools. Let's do it. 6-inch animals next year. At number 8 are the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Cobb Vanth and Death Watch Mandalorian action figure. Look, I make my rules to break them, you know, and it's just two things going on here. One, there's so many good figures that come out per line that it's impossible to say I'm legitimately going to rank the top 10 action figures and that's it, because frequently what happens is there's so many good figures that come from a single line that you'd end up with like, oh, there's 8 from one line and then 1 each from 2 other lines. And I don't like that as a representation of my action figure year. You know, I really want to be able to have a cross section of all the things that I loved and enjoyed throughout that year, and be able to look back on that and say, okay, this represents the totality of the miscellaneous and myriad of things that I collected. And so both of these figures, if you know me at all, if you've watched me at all, both of these figures hit me right in that Boba Fett, Mandalorian. I mean, Cobb Vanth is wearing Boba Fett armor here. And this Mandalorian, this Death Watch Mandalorian, is the best Mandalorian body, sculpt, posability, all of that stuff. Worst weapon, that rifle is terrible. I didn't even bring it to have it in the booth with him because I hate that thing. It doesn't fit in his hand. I don't care how you put that thing in his hand. It's wrong. It's just stock. The handle should be longer. That's it. But both of these figures are fantastic. The Timothy Oliphant likeness on this head is great. I am looking forward to this year putting together a Cobb Vanth costume for myself to potentially wear at shows and stuff, or just wear. Who knows? It's just fun. But this is my wheelhouse. Boba Fett especially. Guys with space helmets, jetpacks, laser guns, space armor. These colors are fantastic. And there's just no way these guys weren't going to make it. And they're making it almost for the exact same reasons, and that's why they're going to share this 8 spot. At number 7 is Four Horsemen Mythic Legions Alder the Moose. Look, this one's not even my call. I live in New Hampshire, and I am by law required to put this one somewhere in the top 10. But it's good because I would have put it in the top 10 anyway. I just talked about how much I want, a full line of 6-inch, 1/12 scale animals to go along with all of my other action figures that I already have redundancies upon redundancies. Too many Optimus Primes, too many Soundwaves, everything. So this is the only moose I have. I got a little battle moose. I got a battle moose from Battle Beasts, a little guy with armor on, but other than that, I have no other mooses. So this is a step in the right direction. I would love to see reindeer. I would love to see elk. I would love to see antelope, like whatever. Just bring them all on. Hey, if Hasbro doesn't want to take me up on this, Four Horsemen, I would be happy to help brand manage that line for you as well. You guys are already pushing horses. I don't know what other animals you've got in mind, but let's go all the way with this and just get all these zoo animals and everything out. Not the best posability on this moose, but what do you want? All it's going to be doing is standing on your shelf, either holding up another action figure, standing next to a tree, supporting Santa Claus, something like that. I've got a bit of a concern about the giantness of these antlers for 2 reasons. One, boy, is it hard to photograph. You can see I didn't even get these full antlers in the frame here for this. Hard to photograph, but I'm really concerned that these things are gonna sag over time. I hope not. I hope that's something that Four Horsemen took into account. Every day I look at it to see if they're drooping a bit. They don't seem to be, but I am a bit concerned about that. But this thing is fantastic. I thought it was going to be even more reuse from the horse, but ultimately everything that they did translates really great for this moose. And just having a really spectacular standout piece that doesn't even have to be a part of your Mythic Legions display. It can just be a cool toy on any of your display shelves. At number 6 is Joy Toy Steiner. I don't remember. I don't have the box in front of me. I don't remember what the actual specific line of toys is. Battle Beyond the Stars, something like that. Dark Energy, Dark Force. I don't know where any of the IPs come from. I don't know where any of the ideas come from. I think some of them are from movies. I think some of them are original creations. Right now, they've gone all in on Warhammer, which is cool, but I'm not really a Warhammer person, so that's fine. There's been plenty of other stuff to collect this year. This figure just caught my attention. To me, it's very It hits all my favorite things. Kind of looks like Snake Eyes, kind of looks like a, Kamen Rider, Masked Rider kind of character. Swords, guns, knives, tactical armor, all that stuff, removable helmet. I did add the scarf, so in terms of, not including customization, this is one where it doesn't actually modify the core figure itself. I could pop that scarf off very easily and put it back, in package exactly as it was purchased. But for me, from the day I got this figure, it just felt like it was lacking that scarf. It needed that scarf to give it that little bit of extra energy, movement, color, even when it's just standing there. And it really, it looked like a Kamen Rider figure to me. And I was like, there's no way I'm not putting that red scarf on. So I don't remember exactly when I got this figure, March, April, May, something like that. But since then, I had been wanting to put that wired scarf on him. And I had considered reaching out to somebody, online who makes capes, or buying a cape and trying to cut it down or whatever. Like, I'm just going to figure out how to do this on my own. I'm just going to figure out how to make a wired scarf. And so I did. So last weekend, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, watched a couple of videos, got the sort of gist of it, went and bought the materials, piece of wire, some red ribbon, some fabric glue, and put that together for myself. First shot, not bad, but there's definitely some things I need to work on in terms of being able to make custom materials like that. If I was going to make another one of these scarves, there's already things I would definitely do different about it. But it did what I wanted it to. It accomplished the mission and made what was already a cool figure, a figure I loved, a figure I played with so much this year. I'm always worried I am an adult human person. I'm, on the back end of my 40s, and, sometimes I have an action figure in my pocket, and I'm always worried about, you'd see the jokes about growing up is like, your mom's like, oh, you're wearing clean underwear today. Like, what if you get in a car accident? Make sure you have clean underwear on. It's like, I'm out here now. I'm like, if something happens to me, I'm going to have an action figure in my pocket, and that might be weird, but who cares? That's who I am, and that's what I do. So I'm not going to worry about that. I have lots of other things that I worry about all the time. So I love this figure. Weird thing happened this year too, and I don't know if this is an overall trend, it's something we're going towards, is I am absolutely buying more 4-inch scale stuff, 1/18 scale, than I have in the past. There are definitely years, right around 2013, 14, 15, you're still getting the G.I. Joe was still 1/18 scale. That was still a pretty dominant part of my collection. But from then on, from 15 through 20, 21, it was all 6-inch or higher, 6-inch scale, 7-inch scale, 8-inch scale, and 4-inch had pretty much disappeared from my purchasing. But between Star Wars Vintage Collection, Star Wars Retro Collection, Super 7 Reaction, Joy Toy, it's like there's all these 4-inch scale figures that are coming back in strong. And I'm a little surprised this is the only one that I actually had in the final top 10 here. Last year, Vintage Collection Boba Fett made it in, and I think there's probably going to be a Vintage Collection Boba Fett in next year, but who knows? And who knows what else Joy Toy or any of these other companies might have to offer up. But this one, definitely best 4-inch scale figure I got this year, and obviously one of my top 10. At number 5 is the Hasbro Lightning Collection Phantom Ranger, which I will forever give D Amazing credit for getting me to purchase this one. D Amazing, if you're not familiar with it, go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Action Figure Reviewer. Incredible poser, and I know that sounds weird to say, but you know what I'm talking about. The guy comes up with amazing poses. He's an incredible photographer, just does amazing work. It looks like Alder's antlers are actually on his head right now. But I wasn't gonna get this figure. I checked out of Lightning Collection after last year. I was very excited about Lightning Collection when it started. I'm a big Super Sentai guy, and I thought, you know what, even though I'm not really into Power Rangers per se, these are still Super Sentai action figures and I can still collect them. But, the direction of the line, it took too long to get to the teams I wanted them to get to. I don't even think they're going to cover some of the teams that I actually want them to get to. Samurai, or whatever it was called here in the US, Gokaiger in Japan, where's that line? When's that happening? Magiranger, just there's so many teams that they could have gone to at this point, and it took forever. They haven't, Yellow Ranger from Go Busters or Beast Morphers, there was like a 2-year gap between those figures, and then they're starting to include figures with vehicles, and I don't want to spend that much. Prices are going up anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm done. They're never going to go back and do the teams that are pre-Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that I want them to do, so that's dead. I'm real tired of this buck, this body style where you can't put the arms down by the sides. And they're already now starting to switch over to doing pinless versions of, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I'm like, I can't chase this anymore. So I expunged a bunch of Lightning Collection from my collection. I kept the basic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and some of the other Red Rangers, Blue Rangers here and there, just individual Rangers that I really liked. And the rest I just had to kick out and move on from. And we'll see. We'll see if I've never understood why Hasbro can't do Die Ranger, which is the series that the White Ranger is from. If they can make those moves in the future, look, they did Toei Spider-Man this year. If they can start making some moves like that in the future, I will happily, excitedly come back. But until then, I'm generally out on Lightning Collection. So I thought I was, and then D Amazing goes and does his video on this and completely changes my perspective of this specific action figure. And so, of course, the next time I saw it, I had to buy it. It's fun. It's right in line with all of the other things I like about action figures. Space armor, space laser gun, mysterious helmet, who's the identity? It's called Phantom Ranger. That's even a cool name, everything about it is just absolutely cool. It poses like a dream. Just lots of fun. The only other two things that I would probably fix on this if I could, if they asked me to, lots of alternate hands. All of these figures, every single action figure should come with at least 3 pairs of action figure hands, of figure hands at this point. Fists, open hands, holding hands. That should just be mandatory for every single figure. So alternate hands would have made this better. And then just a little bit longer, a little bit more on the neck, a little bit more room to play with on the neck there would have made this thing. I don't know, maybe it would have ranked higher. It's pretty high right now. Number 5 on the top 10 is a pretty good place to be. And speaking of Marvel Legends Toei Spider-Man, here he is at the number 4 spot. Oh man, what a dream come true. What an impossibility that I never thought would be overcome. I never thought this was something that could actually conceivably happen. When Whispers first started, when Across the Spider-Verse came out, and the possibility of this happening, I read the Spider-Verse crossover, Into the Spider-Verse crossover. I'm getting my titles mixed up now. The actual comic book crossover, Spider-Verse crossover. I read all that. It was incredible. The core book that flows through with Spider-Ham and Spider-Man 2099, just all that stuff. Lots of great stories in there. Lots of fantastic artwork. That Toei Spider-Man turned up in that was amazing. It was a surprise and was fantastic. That so many years later, he's not only turning up as an action figure in Marvel Legends, but potentially in a movie later this year. Like, what is even happening? That's amazing. I cannot believe it. So, is this figure perfect? Absolutely not. There are absolutely some issues with this figure. Number one, no calf swivel. That would have been nice. I don't like toe articulation, but I know a lot of people do, and I know Hasbro is tending to move back in that direction, and people like it, and they make really great poses and great pictures. So I'm not asking for that, but calf cut would have been a big deal. Alternate hands, fantastic. The torso's a little wonky, but I don't mind. And I think I would have liked a little bit darker on the red. It does tend to push a little orangey, even to my messed up colorblind eyes. But yeah, there are some challenges in posing this thing, but I don't care about Leopardon. I don't care if that ever happens. To me, that's not, I don't really like that robot. I hate his stupid mouth. But this figure, this design, just that they were able to tap back into that Japanese television market from so long ago, from the 70s, like it gives me hope that, as I was just talking about with Phantom Ranger, that we might actually be able to see some of those other characters that I grew up with, Denjimon, Sun Vulcan, Goguru 5, those kinds of things. Kamen Rider Super 1, which had nothing to do with Marvel. I'm just throwing that out there. If you're going to get licenses, see if you can grab that one too. So there'd be a lot of fun things that they could do if they could just unlock the rest of those Super Sentai properties. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but seeing Toei Spider-Man gives me hope. And I just love, I love how far back this goes, how far back it reaches into, taking something that was just never going to happen. And I know other figures came out. I did not get the SH Figure Arts one. I think it was Figure Arts. I like printed on web lines. I hate sculpted web lines, whether they're raised or recessed into the figure. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So I couldn't get past that for that Figuarts release. And I've seen everybody's pictures and they look fantastic and you're doing great. But I don't like that figure at all. I don't want anything to do with it. So this for me was the best I'm going to get for the kind of figures I collect in I think ever is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to be a character that's going to pop up again and again in Marvel Legends going forward. I think this was a one-shot deal, so he's fantastic. I knew he was going to be on the top 10 the second the pictures came out. Just wasn't sure how high. So here we are, number 4. Number 3 is the Four Horsemen Mythic Legions Figura Obscura Headless Horseman and his horse. This thing is insane. Everybody who was able to grab this thing, I'm going to say, felt like we got robbed. Felt like we got held up and somebody took our wallets because they had announced that, a figure's going to be coming out. We're like, okay, that's fine. I like Mythic Legions. Maybe if I like the figure, I'll grab one. And then they hit us with this, and it was like, oh my God, they just took $150 from me. Like, I didn't even have a choice. They just knocked me down, took $150. But then, I say that just in terms of how quickly we all lost that money because this thing was so awesome. But they, in my opinion, they under-promised, over-delivered because this thing is amazing. Like, I knew there was going to be, it's like how big it is. I can't even fit them all in the frame again. Like, this little pumpkin head is sticking out. Fortunately, I got his whole head in here. Just everything about it is fantastic. The horse is great. I love how different the horse is just from their basic horse. Just the subtle touches of red all over here and there. The gear, everything about it is just great. The wired cape on the Headless Horseman here. Multiple interchangeable hands. Even different neck options here. You can't see it from here, but he's got like a little T-bone steak there for his neck, so you can actually see the little vertebrae that got cut when his head got chopped off. Just an absolutely gorgeous piece. Completely unexpected. Came out of nowhere as far as I'm concerned. As far as things I expected to see from Mythic Legions, just absolutely insane. And between this and Krampus and now Father Christmas, like, how... It's completely unpredictable. Like, who knows where they're going to go with this stuff next? Who knows what kinds of figures they might offer in the future? I would not have been able to predict that they were going to do this or Santa or anything like that. So it is a very exciting time to be following this particular action figure line and this action figure company, and to have such a gorgeous piece. I feel very fortunate that I was able to order this one. Thank you very much to my friend Mike Case, who got up earlier than I did. He's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. He was on the West Coast and made sure that I knew that I needed to wake up and order this thing. So thank you very much to him for having my collector back there because this is just amazing. And I would have been very sad if I had missed this, and probably would have paid whatever the secondary market price is because it's so cool. And my McFarlane Headless Horseman from the movie is really old at this point, and this is an incredible update to it. And as far as I'm concerned, not a Halloween piece. This is one, Father Christmas, I might keep him out. Maybe I'll stand him next to Alder. Not sure if that's a full year collection piece. This absolutely is. This one will be out all year long. It's too cool. It's too great. You can always put a head on there. It's got a head, you got a neck peg. I posted some pictures on my Instagram of different ghost heads or skull heads or whatever that you can throw on there. Throw on some other stuff. Looks great. I love this piece. Easy top 5 figure, and in this case, top 3. Number 2 is Super 7's The Worst Ultimates Captain Deadstar look. When this figure was announced, when the reaction figure was announced 4 years, oh man, that was 20, I think that was Toy Fair. It was either Toy Fair 2020 or 2019. I can't remember off the top of my head now. When the original reaction Captain Deadstar figure was released, that was in February of whatever year it was. And I thought to myself, and said out loud, I don't know how many people were paying attention to me, but I said out loud, that's the figure of the year right now, that right there. That character design is fantastic. I love it. It's gorgeous. Skeleton pirate from space with cybernetic peg leg and flaming fire sword. Like, what? That's amazing. I love it. Give me all of that. So when they announced it for Ultimates, there's been a few things that I've said in the top 10 today. Things I never thought would happen. Things I never would have anticipated. I did not expect to see. And Super 7 choosing to do The Worst Ultimates. That's their, if you're not familiar with The Worst, it's their proprietary brand of original characters. It's the worst, they're not just bad guys, they're the worst guys, is basically how it breaks down. So they're just, they're bad guys that you can use against your other action figures and stuff. And Captain Deadstar, for me, is by far, leagues in front of everybody else in that line. So to not only have them announce The Worst Ultimates, which is basically their line of 7-inch scale action figures that come with a ton of accessories and interchangeable hands and posability and cloth wired capes and all that stuff. For them to announce that was just a completely unexpected dream come true sort of action figure from a dream come true action figure line. And I thought the only way Captain Deadstar doesn't take the #1 spot in my top 10 this year is if NECA's Warduke actually shows up, because I feel like the nostalgic attachment to Warduke would be the one thing that could bounce Captain Deadstar out of the 1 spot. Warduke did not show up. So Warduke is still the #1 contender for the #1 spot in 2023. We'll see. I have Grimsword. I'm still counting Grimsword as a 2023 figure, but we'll see how that all shakes out next year. Captain Deadstar, why is Captain Deadstar not at #1 after all that? Because it has too many big problems. The worst of which, no pun intended, is I don't know why this torso cut is here. There's a waist and then there's a torso cut. The waist rotates, that's fine. The torso cut does nothing. I don't know if it's supposed to. I don't know if that articulation got eliminated at some point, but it's still there and you still see it, but it doesn't do anything. And that is incredibly frustrating. The second issue that is unforgivable with this thing is the looseness of the articulation. This elbow is so loose that the weight of this sword is too much to actually be able to hold it in most positions. His ankle is loose, so he's already got a problem standing with his cyber peg leg. It is very, very difficult, and of course he's having no problem standing right now, so he's making me look like an idiot. But it is tough to get this figure to hold a pose. He's going to be the first one to shelf dive, just because that ankle is going to give way, the hip, the shoulder, it's frustrating. I don't love the execution of the wired cape, but I've been able to work with it. You can take it off. He's got a little, parrot, a dead parrot that can hang out on his shoulder. He comes with a ton of accessories: gun, sword, alternate hands, alternate heads, the treasure chest, space map, key, boot, all kinds of other stuff. It's great. But is that worth the price that Super 7 charges for these things? $55. $55. We're getting closer to that. Some of these action figures in the background starting to push $25, $27. That moose ain't cheap, So if they can hold that $55 price for years and years and years to come, it's going to be more and more acceptable. But I cannot deny that the quality issues on this thing, the looseness of the articulation, the articulation that does nothing, the softness of the sculpt, that was enough that I had to downgrade it. I had to downgrade it to #2. I still love it that much that even with those issues, pricing and all that stuff, it still makes the #2 spot for me. And finally, at the #1 spot, the thing that plagued me literally all 365 days of the year, every single day of 2022, I was haunted by these two figures and what I was going to need to do with them, what the choice was that I was going to make at the end of the year. If you go back and watch the other 3 videos from 2022, I struggled with what to do with them all year long, because these figures were in I think the earliest review I found on YouTube is the end of October 2021. I had them in December of 2021. So for me to call them 2022 figures it's a stretch. But you know what? I don't care. It's my list. I can do whatever I want on this. And I explained it in last year's, actually in multiple videos this year, where I basically had to say, these were sent to me as samples from Hasbro ahead of the actual fulfillment of pre-orders or them being stocked on retail shelves. So the rule that I used was, when did my pre-orders actually get fulfilled? My pre-orders for these figures didn't get fulfilled until probably March, April, sometime like that. And that's when I first had these figures in hand, and then I built up, little sub-armies, little battalions of each of them. I ended up with 5 bats, 5 alley vipers. Had to make a line right there and say no more, because I would have spent far more money on alley vipers and bats. Because this is my problem. Alley vipers and bats, the vintage figures, the 25th anniversary figures, some of my favorite action figures, literally of all time, and to not be able to put them in a place of prominence within my top 10 lists, which are like the most important thing to me. I don't care if anybody else thinks they're important. They're so important to me, and it's just this little private action figure universe that I live in, where I'm like, no, they have to have a position of prominence because they are so cool. They are so well executed. I love these updates, these designs so much that it felt like it was offensive to me that I didn't know what year to actually put them in. 2021, 2022. So what I decided was these figures, G.I. Joe Classified is easily, just based on the quantity of figures that I purchased this year. I made a spreadsheet and I tracked everything I bought. I post everything that I buy on Instagram. And so when I went back and I recently did all my team photos, which groups together everything within a sort of subgroup. So when I put together my classified picture, it was clear that that was the biggest line for me in terms of literal quantity of figures, and then secondly, just my favorite line. It's my favorite line. I can't deny it. So there are so many other classified figures that could have been included here. Crimson Guards are awesome. Spirit is awesome. The new Cobra Trooper is awesome. Zorana is awesome. Like every single figure that came out this year is awesome. So just as, Death Watch Mandalorian, Cobb Vanth sort of represent the Black Series figures I bought, and Steiner here represents the Joy Toy figures I bought. Headless Horseman and Alder represent the Mythic Legions figures I bought. These two guys are absolutely representing all of the classified figures that I bought this year. They're sort of in honorary number one position, right alongside the actual number one figure of the year, which is Serpentor. And based on my likes and what I'm interested as far as action figures go, historically and now, there was no other choice for number one. Once Captain Deadstar showed that he had too many significant issues, Serpentor showed up and just absolutely mopped the floor. Just blew him away. And it's not fair, I'm complaining about Captain Deadstar's $55 price, but then, Serpentor was like $90 or whatever he was. And he comes with this giant gold snake chariot. Like, that's not fair. It's like a competition against maybe the Headless Horseman, maybe Alder, anybody who came with, some other giant supplemental kind of thing, how's Spider-Man supposed to compete with this giant snake jet fighter thing? Like, that's not fair. It's got giant cannons on it, and, it's amazing. He comes with 2 different, snake hood things and swords and Wolverine claws and everything else. Like, he's so giant, towers over all of the other G.I. Joe figures. Got these little snake fangs, his articulated mouth, the rotating turbine. Wait, are you kidding me? This thing's amazing. So, look, I'm that guy. I'm the Mark. I'm the G.I. Joe Mark. I'm sorry. If you're complaining about everything looks too retro, I wish they'd do some new designs. I'm sorry. I'm the guy that's ruining it, They're aiming that at me, and I'm just like, yeah, just kill me with it all. It's fine. Look, I liked some of the early designs too. I was actually okay with the sort of Fortnite-ification of G.I. Joe. I was willing to follow along, play along and whatever. Like, they needed to fix the faces and that sort of thing, and they did. And, the little nips and tucks here would have been fine for me, and I still would have been all in on the line. But to take that turn and say, no, let's go all in on that retro styling, I'm game. I'm good. I'm sorry, it's fine. It's all good for me. I'll be great, I'll be totally fine with once the sort of retro styling is done, or what they're doing right now is fine. It's like, here's the retro version, here's a sort of updated version with a little more bits and stuff. It's all good. It's all good for me. So, look, an amazing year for action figures. 2023 is shaping up to be even harder. The HasLab Sky Striker shipping soon. The His Tank, I don't know if that's supposed to be in 2023. Warduke is supposed to be out there. I don't know if Storm Collectibles is ever going to ship that Gotcha Man figure that I paid for like 2 years ago or whatever. There's holdovers from this year. I was supposed to get Crocker. I never got my Crocker. Big Bad still hasn't shipped those. Fury Toys, whichever that is. There's other things that I thought were going to be out this year that still didn't show up. You know, I've got Gundams and Plunderlings and just all kinds of incredible things that are just making it so much fun to be collecting action figures at this point. It's hard, it's expensive, and even I had to cut back this year. I've had to be much more careful about how much money I'm spending. What do I really want that figure? Am I actually going to put it out on my display? Is it going to end up in a bin? A lot of questions I'm being forced to ask myself as a collector. But you know what? It's great, especially when it results in a top 10. It's actually like 15 or something action figures like this at the end of the year. So thank you all for watching our videos all year long. Thank you for watching this video. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. Yeah, make sure you do subscribe to this channel, because we are planning to do a lot more with this channel in the forthcoming weeks and months and year. So you don't want to miss out on any of that stuff. Thank you, and Happy New Year. Later.